Calling the meeting to order with fifth grader Charles Fortier. Please come to hold the flag. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is a regularly scheduled public session of the Woodridge Board of Education and is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, also known as the Sunshine Law. This meeting has been approved by resolution adopted at the reorganization meeting held on January 3rd, 2022. Notification has been sent to the record. Notification has been posted in the Woodridge Borough Hall, the Woodridge Memorial Library, tapinto.net, and the Woodridge Board of Education website. Please be advised that all or a portion of this meeting is being live streamed in real time and will be recorded for rebroadcasting at a future date. Roll call.
Mr. Fallon.
Here.
Mr. Garvin.
Here.
Mr. O'Byrne.
Here.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. Diamante.
Present.
And Mr. Nieves is absent.
Okay. Student representative report. Ms. Emily Knight.
Hello, my name is Emily Dine. I'm a senior at Woodridge High School. This month has been going great at our high school. Just as today, the National Honor Society went on a trip to Eva's Village and we helped out in the student kitchen, and it was a great experience. And we're looking forward to a lot more fun trips this year.
Thank you. Moving on to HIB presentation, Mr. Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize in advance for a very long report. Today I'll present to you two separate reports. The first report I'll present is the Student Safety Data System, and the second report is the NJDOE Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Self-Assessment. First, the Student Safety Data System. Under the NJDOE Student Safety Data System, all incidents involving any type of suspension in school or out of school must be reported to the state. In addition, any alleged and or confirmed HIVs must be reported. During the second half reporting period of the 2021-2022 school year, which runs from January 1st to June 30th, 2022, the number of incidents reported to the Student Safety Data System for the district was 46, disaggregated as follows. For the Doyle School, there were 2 alleged HIV incidents, later not founded, 1 confirmed HIV incident, and 0 other incidents leading to removal being in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension. For the intermediate school, there was 1 alleged HIV incident, later non-founded, and 2 incidents of non-specified type leading to removal, in-school suspension or suspension. For the high school, there were 4 alleged HIV incidents, later non-founded, 2 confirmed HIV incidents, 4 incidents of physical violence, item, 1 incident of theft of property, 1 incident of a simple threat, and 38 incidents of various non-specific types leading to some form of suspension. These types of incidents of non-specified type typically consist of vaping, internet violations, cell phone usage, classroom detention cuts, which may have led to an in-school or out-of-school suspension, and thus we must report them to the state. The total number of HIV incidents investigated within the district during the second half of the 2020
Moving over to the Student of the Month presentation, Mr. Alba.
Good evening. Welcome to our renovated auditorium. We're still putting things together here. We're going to have a presentation shortly, and our screen will be off to my right and to your left. And once we get things finalized, we'll have our center place screen restored. Our next presentation involves recognizing the students of the month for the month of September in the current school year in all 3 schools. Obviously, when COVID hit, that put a stop to our live and in-person recognition. Last year, we were able to recognize all of our students in our final board meeting, and this year, we've decided to do it each month to give everyone their proper attention and getting recognized. Now, each school has their own way of recognizing their students, and I'm sure that they all have received many gifts and accolades and honors this evening. We're going to recognize them, give them a warm round of applause, and encourage them to continue doing the right thing in school every day. So to announce our September Doyle recipients is the principal, Ms. Lara Schmidt.
Thank you. In kindergarten, we have Ryan Allshouse. Come on up, Brad. Good job. Why don't you stand here? We'll wait. In first grade, we have Alexandria Lappy. Don't be shy. I have to talk. You just have to walk. In second grade, we have Batul Koper. And in third grade, you might not recognize him without his Yankee hat, but they're playing shortly. Robinson fan. Back-to-back years, Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schmidt. Now from the intermediate school, grades 4 through 6, we have our principal, Lisa.
For the fourth grade, I would like to welcome up here Mr. Vincent Scalera. For the fifth grade, I would like to welcome Mr. Charlie Fauché. Looking around here in the sixth grade, we'd like to welcome up Miss Martina Diaz. Where are you, Martina? Oh, there you are. I have wonderful things to say about all three of them, but for sake of time, I already took care of it at the school. We're going to take a quick picture. Thanks to our photographer over here. Congratulations. Congratulations. Nice big round of applause.
Last but not least, grades 7 through 12, Woodridge Junior Senior High School, our assistant principal, Mrs. Sylvia Ruiz.
Good evening, everyone. For 7th grade, we have George Amabile. For 8th grade, we have Maria Samuel. For 9th grade, we have Jaslyn Bizono. For 10th grade, we have John Twitty, which I don't believe is here tonight. For 11th grade, we have Rebecca Parr. And for 12th grade, we have Lauren Bagarva. Congratulations.
You got time. Yeah.
Not all night. One more. Good job, guys.
Parents, before we move on to the district presentation of the 2022 high school graduation rate and state assessment results, if you did want to leave, we would not be offended. We do realize it's a school night. We would not be offended. We do realize it's a school night.
A third grader would be in sixth grade. Third grader in 19 would be in sixth grade now, I believe, in 22. But just to give further view in an up through 5 in 19 and 22, and also breaks down the difference between 2019 and 22 in terms of how many students were at levels 1 and 2, not meeting expectations, as compared to how many were in level 4 or 5. Now, honestly, mathematically, if you look at this column here, this is the change in levels 1 and 2 from 19 to 22. You really want these all to be negative numbers. You want those numbers to go down. In the next column, we have the change in levels 4 and 5. You'd like for those to be positive numbers and see that number go up. So this is one piece of evidence regarding any perceived gap in achievement following COVID. It is mandatory to report out participation rates in these assessments. Parents do have the right to opt out, but the state makes us keep record of all those who participate in order to determine the validity of the test results. So as a district, in 2019, we had 99% of our students participate. And in 2022, we had 98% of our students participate. Reasons for not participating can include opting out, medical reasons, etc. In graph form, we have placed our English language arts proficiency by race: Asian, Black, Hispanic, and white. Any subgroup that has fewer than 10 students in it is not recorded because that escaped confidentiality. So all of these groups have more than 10 students in them in all our test takers. So the darker blue represents our most recent result, and the pale blue represents 18-19 for each of those groups. Similarly for gender, we have male and female. Dark blue represents our most recent testing. The pale blue represents the year 18-19. By program, we have free and reduced lunch, or the state refers to as economically disadvantaged. We have students with Section 504 plans. We have our special education students and our general education students. And again, these are not per student. This is a percentage of all those students reaching levels 4 or 5. Mathematics, a similar form where you can compare the district score to the state score. All summed together in grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, we all have outscored the state. Unfortunately, in grade 8, these are the 8th grade math students who are not part of the Algebra 1 group. These are the 8th grade math students, and as a state, we've had 15% of those students pass. As a district, we've had 16% of those students pass. This has caught the attention of superintendents in the area, and it's something that we're looking into in questioning with the state in our association meetings, because obviously neither of these two numbers are acceptable. In Algebra 1, which is inclusive of 8th graders who are taking algebra in addition to 9th graders and 10th graders possibly, we had 26% of our students meet expectations as compared to the state having 35. In geometry, these are freshmen only, 9th graders. In years past, it was everybody in the geometry class. Now it's solely ninth graders. So our students who took algebra as eighth graders and attended Woodridge High School as ninth graders most likely are in honors geometry. And that represents that testing group. Additionally, we have students in ninth grade that were on a track that included taking honors geometry and honors algebra 2 in the same school year. In the algebra 2 portion, we have fewer than 10 students. Therefore, those percentages are not listed on our presentation. Again, when we look at the changes in levels, we're looking for negatives here. For example, we had a significant negative in geometry and a positive in geometry, changes 4 to 5. That means we had more students reach expectations in comparison 19 to 22. And again, we want these numbers to be positive and these numbers to be negative. Again, our participation rate for each testing area we have to report out, and our results are similar. 99% participation in 2019, 98% participation in 2022. In graphing, our subgroups again remain Asian, Black, Hispanic, and white. And you can tell in our 21-22 results, as compared to literacy, we do have some math subgroups that are outdistancing the state, or I'm sorry, our 19 school year. So 22 after COVID, we have 2 subgroups that are outperforming the groups prior to COVID. Female and male. Our proficiency by program, free and reduced lunch, section 504, special ed, general education. My one comment on this is during COVID, when the government made lunches without cost for students, that resulted in fewer applications being submitted for free and reduced lunch. Our testing group last year in that subgroup was smaller than the testing group in 18-19 prior to COVID. Science. Science has 4 levels instead of 5. And we have comparisons between the district and the state. We have comparisons between ourselves in 19 and ourselves presently in 22. In comparison to the state, our 5th graders, we scored 38% of our population meeting or exceeding expectations as compared to the state's 26%. In 8th grade, we had 12% of our students meet or exceed as compared to 16% of the state. In the 11th grade, we had 9% of our students meet or exceed expectations as compared to 29% in the state. These again are participation rate. Science is usually the last assessment administered in the spring following language arts and math. We had 99% of our students participate in these assessments in 2019 and 2022. Science proficiency by race, comparing 19 to 22. Again, the pale blue is 18-19 and the darker blue is 21-22. We have 1 fewer subgroup because in 22 we had less than 10 students involved in that subgroup. Free and reduced lunch, section 504, and special ed. Again, those are percentages, not tallies of students. WIDA access for ELLs is our test for limited English-speaking students. They have to take it annually. It's a state requirement. There are 6 ratings in this test, and essentially, a student who averages 4.5 or greater is eligible to exit the ESL program, provided there are multiple measures that support that decision. So this is the breakdown in our clusters of grades, K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 through 12. That's where they scored. That's how the score broke down by average. I should go back and draw attention to, at the very bottom, we had 46 students. We had 6 out of 46 students, or 13% of all of our ELO students, K to 12, exit the ELO program based upon multiple measures, including passing this test. For us projecting to the future, we are happy to see the numbers that are at level 3 in combination with the numbers at level 4, and we're hoping to continue to see this kind of growth moving forward because that'll enable more students to demonstrate proficiency and exit from the program. The other thing to note, 46 students, ELL is the greatest number we've had for as long as I've been here. And right now we're about 40 on October 17th. When I started in 2009 at Doyle School, we had one family of 4. So we have grown and our students are performing. The dynamic learning map is an alternative assessment for students as determined by IEP. In this case, we have fewer than 10 students that participated in these assessments. Therefore, the results are suppressed for confidentiality. I'm also obliged to report out the graduation report for our high school class of 22. We've had 98 students graduate last June. 32 of these students graduated under the substitute competency test process, AccuPlacer or ASVAB. We had 0 students that required to graduate under the portfolio appeals process. We had 6 students receive state-endorsed high school diplomas as a result of meeting any alternate requirements for graduation as specified by their IEPs. The total number of students denied graduation from the 12th grade, 0. The total number of students denied graduation from the 12th grade class solely because of the failure to pass the high school end of course PARC. For some reason, the state refers to it still as PARC assessments, the state graduation proficiency test, substitute competency test, or portfolio appeals process based on the provisions of NJAC 6A8, 0 students. One of the final things I mentioned, I believe in my communication this past weekend, it's on our agenda this evening. Last school year, we were subject to the QSAC visitation, which is a form of monitoring. It's done usually every 3 years. So we recently received our letter that gives us our score. There are 5 rated areas, instruction and program, which we've received an 83%. All of our points that were lost in this area are from test scores from 18-19. Management, we had 100%, fiscal management 100%, governance 94%, operations 95%, personnel 97%. As long as you reach 80% or greater in each area, you have met the criteria. Therefore, the state has given us a letter that we're going to approve tonight, where we've been identified as a high-performing district, which basically gives us a 3-year reprieve until they come to visit again. Now, in terms of looking at the results and what's next, obviously we were not surprised by the results that were received this year, given all the things that we've gone through and recognizing where we were prior to COVID. So things that we've already worked on: math and science professional development, grades 7 through 12, and the use of formative assessments and data-driven instruction. ELA professional development in district with a consultant staff developer to implement new K-6 literary series, which improves instructional strategies and classroom practices. PD in improving the creation of individualized education plans. PD and INRS practices and procedures. Ongoing analysis of data by grade, department, data teams, SGO, Start Strong, Linkit scores, grade and department vertical articulations. Things that are ongoing: continued implementation of RTI in K-6 with a focus on progress monitoring. Year 2 of support with the 2 reading specialist positions that we restored to the budget. Continuation of the ARP ESSER 3 supports in ELA and math in terms of the extended school day learning acceleration program. We have curriculum revision ongoing. Expanded use of Linkit for data warehousing, analytics, and assessment solutions for benchmarking. Increased quantity of school counseling staff to help focus on SEL K-12. Next steps: we hope to expand professional development in English language arts in the district with a consultant staff developer in grades 7 through 12. We'll continue to review common assessments in math and ELA to ensure NJSLA alignment and use Linkit to help us perform that data report. We're going to launch content-specific roundtables to increase vertical articulation. And finally, we're going to initiate administrative team walkthroughs to observe teaching and learning in action and have all of our administrators learn in each building and build that connection from Doyle to the intermediate school to the high school. At this point, I'm open for any questions, but I'll say prior to that, thank you for listening to me. I will put this on the website tomorrow morning. Any questions? Hearing none, seeing none. You want superintendent's report? Okay, on to approval of minutes. Upon the recommendation of superintendent, the Board of Education approves the minutes for the following meetings. Executive and work session, meeting September 12th, 2022. Executive and public session meeting, September 22nd, 2022. Can I get a motion? Mr. Garvin, second? Was it Mr. Bianchi? I didn't see who raised their hand. Mr. Bianchi, roll call?
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin,
Yes.
Mr. O'Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent, Mr. Biamonte,
Yes.
Mr. Nieves is absent.
Trustees, is it okay if I go through the committee reports? Okay, up for approval tonight. Curriculum instruction, number 1, approval of retroactive revision of the district-wide summer learning acceleration program performing arts. Approval of professional development requests, approval of evaluation requests, approval of out-of-district related services, approval of field trip requests, approval of speaker, approval of home instruction termination, approval of district-wide extended school day learning acceleration program, approval of new transportation, approval of proposed Italian club overnight trip in April 2023, approval of mentor, approval of Woodridge Intermediate School kindness tie-dye event. For personnel, approval of internship, approval of reappointment of unaffiliated district personnel 2022-2023, approval of personnel appointment summer 2022 curriculum writing, approval of compensation for completed task of the summer 2022 curriculum writing, approval of appointment of care personnel 2022-2023, approval of removal of participant from school improvement committee skip and for Woodridge Junior Senior High School, approval of removal of participation from the safety team for Woodridge Junior Senior High School, approval of the following safety team participants, approval of safety team and skip team participant as administrative internship, approval of WRHS 6-period teaching stipends for 2022-2023, approval of appointment for 2022-2023 school year for before care, approval of district-wide 6-period teaching stipends 2022-2023, approval of co-curricular appointment, approval of personnel appointment for 2022-2023 school year for substitute custodian and substitute bus driver, approval of student volunteers for community hours for the aftercare program for 2022-2023 school year, approval of coaching appointment, approval of acceptance of resignation. Under policy, we have approval of policies. Under buildings and grounds, we have approval of facility request, another approval of facility request. Under finance, we have approval of bills list, approval of monthly financial reports of the board secretary and treasurer, approval of certificate of balanced budget, approval of budget transfers, approval of fundraisers, approval of more fundraisers, approval of acceptance of donation, approval of tentative budget calendar for 23-24 per attached, approval of transfer of funds. Under board operations, affirmation of the superintendent's report of incident and harassment, bullying, and intimidation within the district, approval of annual uniform state memorandum of agreement 22-23, approval of 22-23 district-wide nursing services plan, approval of purchase for Verkada environmental sensor devices, approval of revision of 2022-2023 school year district calendar, approval of submission of comprehensive maintenance plan, approval of the report concerning yearly completion of bus emergency evacuation drills pursuant to NJAC 6A27. Mr. O'Byrne, roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin,
Yes.
Mr. O'Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. Biamonte?
Yes.
And Mr. Nieves is absent. Thank you.
Okay, trustees looking for Woodridge only for resolutions, curriculum instruction 2, 3, 6, and 12, personnel 1, 5, and 11, buildings and ground 1, finance 6. Can I have a motion? Mr. Garvin, second. Mr. O'Byrne, roll call?
Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Garvin?
Yes.
Mr. O'Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. Biamonte?
Yes.
And Mr. Nieves is absent. Thank you.
Okay. New business first. So before we open up the hearing as citizens, we are going to read one question that we received from our online submission. This is from Chris Amos. Here is my question. Will the board please reconsider taking questions during real time for virtual meeting attendees? I have done 2 polls with Woodridge parents, and they have both been overwhelmingly in favor of board taking questions in real time during virtual meetings. Many Woodridge parents have situations that make it difficult for them, quote, in parentheses, us, to attend meetings. Here is the link to the most recent poll with standing at 95% in favor of taking real-time questions from virtual attendees. And there's a link to the poll. That was Chris Amos, 280 Main Avenue in Woodridge. Ms. Amos, the board is taking this under advisement, and I believe there'll be a discussion from someone a little bit later in new business. Okay, opening up the hearing of citizens. I'm sorry, that's the only question, correct?
Correct.
Opening up the hearing of citizens to anything you want to talk about. Please state your name and address and sign in on the sheet. None? Okay, hearing none, seeing none. Closing the hearing of citizens. Trustees, anything for new business?
I'd like for the board to revisit policy on live streaming, video recording of public meetings by the district, policy number 0168.01.
Anyone else?
Mr. Fallon, I'm very pleased to see our National Honesty students have gone back to Edith's Village or Edith's Kitchen. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Students involved.
That's fantastic. I believe they do something around Thanksgiving too, right, Chris?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else for communications? Ms. Mary?
No, there is not.
Okay. Unfinished business? No. Motion to adjourn? Mr. Garvin, second. Mr. O'Byrne? Thank you, everyone, for coming.